So Happy Place was a participatory research project here at the Fitzwilliam Museum. It was a project of two parts. So the first part was research and the second part was the creation of a pop-up immersive wellbeing pilot. At the centre of the project, we really wanted to understand how the museum could support local young people's wellbeing. This was really important for the museum because this target group of young people aged between 16 and 25 is one of the museum's main target audience. The project was prompted by our research into the situation in local young people's mental health, which showed that 1 in 3 people locally here in Cambridge are struggling with mental health issues, everything from anxiety to depression to loneliness. And we felt with the museum being here in the centre of the community of Cambridge, we wanted to do something about it and really understand what people wanted and what people need in terms of wellbeing support.
So Happy Place researched what wellbeing meant for young people living in Cambridge, what factors were kind of negatively impacting their wellbeing, so sort of bringing stress and unhappiness, and also what was sort of impacting and promoting joy, and crucially what museums could do to sort of help this ongoing crisis.
We used participatory action research in the project. It's a cycle of research and sharing of insight and learnings. So the first part of the project was actually talking to local community organisations who support local young people with mental health and understanding from them what the situation was, what the factors were that were creating poor mental health in local young people. And then the next phase was actually reaching out to local young people in the community and running creative focus groups around Cambridge. The next stage after that was actually to invite young people to the museum, where we did some creative exercises to really help to understand how the museum itself could support mental health.
So we worked with a range of local young people who kind of brought different experiences and backgrounds, and also different levels of kind of experience of museums. So some were really confident visiting and came all the time, and others, they were just sort of not a part of their daily life or part of maybe their routine. So we had all of these different experiences brought together, which created a really rich environment. So Becky led a series of creative focus groups, which sort of went around the museum thinking about the different places and spaces and how they made people feel, and also gave everyone an opportunity to think not only how it felt now, but how they might want to feel in those spaces in the future. So these activities kind of involved sketching in different artworks, kind of slow looking and sort of empathy-based activities, thinking about the sort of emotional and human stories behind the artworks.
So I thought they were really fun, and I think that, it just felt like coming to a space where, there was a group of young people all kind of motivated and kind of excited to get involved in a creative project, which I thought was just such a cool environment to be in. I feel very grateful to have had the chance to be part of that kind of space of creativity. I think I found it quite relaxing, and also it was interesting to kind of explore the museum in a way that felt at the same time very kind of personal and individual, but also kind of having that individual experience alongside others. So I found it really kind of a little bit surreal, but very enjoyable, and I really had a good time kind of drawing and responding creatively to the works that I was seeing. So I thought that was really cool, and it had kind of always been something that I'd wanted to do, like come to the museum and actually leave having maybe done some drawing myself, but I'd just never gotten around to it, so it was really nice to have the opportunity to kind of get involved creatively.
I think what really surprised me in a really positive way was the sort of time and the thoughtfulness that people were willing to invest in this project straight from the get-go. So I remember on one of the early creative focus groups, Becky was leading an activity where we walked around the gallery looking at the different spaces. And we thought that would take about 45 minutes, but after about 40 minutes, we'd probably been in 2 rooms. And people were just so thoughtful and willing to share their experiences and really engage with this question of well-being. And I think that sort of reflective space where everyone was sharing their experiences really openly, even though lots of the experiences were quite differently, that really came through in the sort of activities that we did together and that the public got to experience too.
So the project ultimately created a 4-day pop-up immersive wellbeing pilot here at the Fitzwilliam Museum. That included Happy Place, which was an immersive space here at the museum that featured sensory experiences, so a smellscape, a soundscape, videos inspired by nature, but also an environment that included nature imagery, soft drapes, a hammock, and spaces to create, to connect, and to socialise. That was this Happy Place. As well as Happy Place, we created the Happy Hour, which were a series of creative activities that took part in the museum. It was different every day. So different ways in which to experience museums, to support wellbeing, and to connect with the collections, the stories, and the spaces here at the Fitzwilliam Museum.
I think when we were designing the sessions, in one session we made this huge mind map, right? It was maybe about 2 A3 pages long, with just everything you could ever do that might be fun or relaxing or take your mind off of something that bothers you. And I think that could be like origami paper, that could be paper flowers, it could be pushing sand around in a little Zen garden. It could be knitting or creating art or yoga, or there are so many different things for different people. And I think what we wanted to achieve was allow different audiences to interact. So no matter what age you were, you could engage with these activities. And I think we really saw that on the final days.
I wanted the Happy Place to be kind of like an open space where people could feel creative, make discoveries, and also relax.
I think definitely kind of once we started moving the fabric around and kind of, covering the ceiling with fabric, it kind of felt like the space was starting to really be transformed, which was nice because so much planning had kind of been on paper, and then actually making the move towards creating the space was really exciting. So
To explain a bit about what the Wellbeing Trail was, it was our way of going around the museum, picking items where we found they spoke to us in a wellbeing context, and we thought they'd speak to visitors in a similar way, as well as the architecture of the museum itself, because it's got beautiful architecture, and linking that to our experiences and what we wanted visitors to get from the space we'd made downstairs.
So I was mostly involved in writing the prompts for the museum trial. So it was a booklet, it's kind of really outside the Happy Place area, but basically allowing the visitors to explore around the museum, to see the collections in a way that hinge upon well-being and all that. So I study art history, I'm doing a PhD around it, so one thing that I really resonate and really passionate is to bring kind of discussions in arts and art history to the public. So what I did is essentially picking some of the art collections that probably not a lot of visitors will focus on. So a lot of decorative arts, a lot of artworks that weren't and complete with a museum labels and trying to thread it with a theme of well-being and to essentially guide the viewers around and to explore well-being in a very museum context.
The stickers arose as part of the trail because we wanted something that visitors could engage with on a physical level as well as a sort of educational level. I love stickers. I think they're very fun. I think they're things you can take home with you, which I really wanted to encourage, and also really good ways to reflect the artworks themselves in a physical memento way. I know did an incredible job in designing them. They are beautiful. The intention was to give sticker packs with various designs to the staff in the galleries so that visitors could engage with the staff and ask them questions and in return receive a sticker. We also had the option for people to just have a pack of stickers as they wandered around, and there were places in the booklet to put a sticker, although we did leave we left it up to the visitors to decide which sticker went where, because that's a decision that allows them creative freedom. In the end, it was less popular for visitors to engage with the staff in the galleries, just because sometimes museum going can be a very individual experience, which makes me really glad we put the other option out for people to have the stickers physically as they went round. But it really helped and people loved them. There were some people who would come up to us afterwards and ask for an extra pack of stickers because they wanted a memento, not just in the booklet they got to take home and with the stickers in there, but they also found the stickers so gorgeous that they wanted to stick them elsewhere. So that was a huge success and we really enjoyed it.
And it did take like quite a few different stages, and we couldn't do everything that we wanted to achieve in the focus groups originally. It had to shape to the museum. For example, we literally wanted it to be like down the garden path. You go and pick your herbs for your tea and bring it back to our space and enjoy a warm cup of tea with your lemon balm or your mint. We couldn't bring live plants into the museum because that's what you can't do. But we were able to adapt that, and we made lots of lovely stickers to be able to collect along the trail, which were themed to do with different plants and things you would find in the garden. So yeah, through discussion, we were able to sort of morph our ideas into what can work out really nicely.
I loved seeing people come in and use the space. I remember at one point someone came in with 2 kids and they didn't speak to anyone except from when they were rock painting. And they sat down the little pond-esque area we'd made and they were painting on their rocks and doing little doodles, and that was their way of connecting with the people around them for these kids. And the adult who'd come in with them as well also began engaging with everyone around them at that point because they knew A, their kids were enjoying themselves, but also everyone else was also in the same calm mindset and they could engage with each other like that. And people started sharing stories with each other about their lives and forming connections, and that was so sweet. I also really loved that we'd put comfortable things into the space, i.e. the hammock, and people were taking naps in it, doodling on their rocks around the room, on the pillows we'd put out and the mats, and people seemed to very much be engaging in the idea that they could take their time, take a breath, relax, and do things as they wanted to, including taking a nap if they wanted to. And that was really rewarding to see, I think, everyone being able to take time for themselves in the space we'd created.
I think it's important to have a reminder that there's a community around us, and that there can be a sense of connection even when everyone is kind of leading very busy lives, and then that that sense of community and connection can really play a key role in lifting our mood.
Well, I do hope that museum is a place that's accessible to all of them. There's always a saying that, in all the public mind, that you need to know something in order to get to be able to experience a museum. And I guess what we hope to achieve here is that even though without happy hours, without happy place, this museum or Fitzwilliam Museum or museum in general could be a place where people can just come in and feel like they will be part of something that they can contribute to in terms of discussion. They can relax. They don't feel overwhelmed by these so-called of high arts and education.
I feel like Happy Place came at one of the best times or one of the worst times, because I was not well, I was working night shifts, I'd finished my degree the week before and I was quite stressed still, and so I wouldn't have come to the museum, honestly, on that lovely sunny week if this had not been on. But being able to come and relax and do some yoga and just chat to people around a table, learn knitting, it was just such a lovely experience, and I honestly do think it helped me, like, physically and mentally, to just decompress and just relax. I think it was really, really lovely to come together with everyone during that stressful time.
Well, it really pushed me to consider the audience and how each aspect of the illustrations, like color and typography, and the visual language, would kind of affect people's sense of well-being, and kind of having that in mind throughout the process was really interesting, and something new. And then other thing was the collaboration with Sophie and Louise. So there was also like learning experience, and also like brought another dimension to the illustration process, kind of having these other creative voices to collaborate with.
I loved doing yoga in the galleries. I think it's definitely a highlight for me. I had never really done yoga in a big group before, certainly not for an hour. And so just being able to do something new in the galleries, but also look at the art in a different way. I remember I was placed in front of it was in Gallery 1, and I was placed in front of these like mannequin paintings, and they're doing all these fantastic poses and stuff like that. And as I was kind of moving around in the same sort of way, I kept on coming back to these paintings while doing yoga in the gallery space, which I think was just super fun and special.
I made so many new friends. We made friends with everyone on the project, including everyone who has been in these wonderful videos. We made friends with some of the people who came in and experienced the project, and got talking to them and hearing everyone's stories, which was really lovely. I also managed to make some connections with museum staff. It was a great opportunity for me to do some networking on a little bit of a more professional level, and get some more opportunities to incorporate well-being aspects into that. Recently, I did a project with the museum where we made a similar space to the Happy Place project to encourage people's well-being, integrated into a bigger night, so that was really successful, I think. And those connections on personal and professional levels have really helped encourage and inspire my own ambitions, so I'm really grateful for that.
I think the project told us that people need a place to go in the community, a place to escape, a place to rest, a place to be themselves. And I think we did that with Happy Place.